I get a lot of feedback. Most of it is positive. And when I get feedback from professors, I think the most consistent idea they tell me is that they like the chronology of the book. They like how it traces leadership theories from trade approach early on and to the present day to the authentic leadership. They like that. They also like the fact that each chapter has a questionnaire on leadership that students can take. And they like that each chapter follows the same pattern. I've set up the book so that each chapter has a narrative about the theory, then it has an analysis of the strengths and weaknesses of the theory, which is followed by a small section that is titled, How Does the Theory Work? And then there are 3 case studies in each chapter, and those case studies are a way to take the concepts in the narrative and apply it to people's personal lives. And then the chapter ends with a questionnaire or a self-assessment tool that students can take to analyze their own leadership.
And so sometimes you look for that wow factor within a textbook. Publishers are always trying to find that wow factor. And it's funny that something as simple as the structure, a consistent structure within a text, can be the #1 feature within it.
Yeah, when I first started with the book, I had glanced at the table of contents and thought that as I look forward, my favorite chapter was going to be Women in Leadership, thinking that was going to empower me as a woman, and I was going to get some real valuable leadership skills from that chapter. And actually I was quite surprised that my favorite chapter was Transformational Leadership. I liked the way that a leader in that role can actually be empowered to make changes, and changes in positive ways. And it does not matter if that person's a woman or a man, which actually for me was a very aha moment. I would like to be considered and like to think of myself as an instrument of change.
When I revise the Black Book, or Leadership Theory in Practice, what I do is I take a look at what's going on in the field. I take a look at what the research says, and then add a chapter that is at what I think is the cutting edge of where leadership is going. I think today there's a strong interest in authentic leadership because people in society, in our culture, want a sense of certainty about their leadership because everything is a little bit shaky. We've had a lot of incidences in major corporations where leaders have been unethical, and we've had the crash in Wall Street. We've had people worried about the financial system. So there's this feeling of uncertainty about leadership and whether we can trust it. And the notion of having a leader who's authentic is comforting because it means that the leader is going to do what she or he says they're going to do. So theory about authentic leadership is important because people want to know how to develop that, and they want to know what's behind it, and they want to learn how to become more authentic. So authentic leadership has an interest to a lot of people. The new chapter is unique in that it has 2 parts. Part of it traces authentic leadership from the practical perspective, and so it includes 2 theories that are used in practice, but they aren't as research-based. And then the last part of the chapter theoretically develops authentic leadership with a research basis. So it's divided into 2 parts, and then of course it has 3 wonderful case studies. It has a case study of Greg Mortensen, the guy who wrote 3 Cups of Tea, and who is just a wonderful example of authentic leadership. There's also a case study in the chapter of Sally Helgesen, who's the woman who wrote The Female Advantage. And Sally Helgesen, her case about authentic leadership describes how she became a writer and what it meant to be authentic in the role as a writer. And then the 3rd case is of Betty Ford, former President Jerry Ford's wife, who has done wonderful work in establishing in California a place for people to come for substance abuse. And Betty Ford is just a wonderful example of someone who's been an authentic leader. So anyway, in that chapter, those 3 cases really add to the meaning of what authentic leadership is today. And we also have in the chapter a nice assessment tool where students can take, or anyone reading the book can take this self-assessment and find out whether their own leadership is authentic or not.